Hello and welcome everyone to day 4 in this quest for 2000 rating on chess.com. So let's jump right in here and find an opponent in a 15-minute game with 10 seconds. All right, so it looks like we have black again. I seem to be getting the black pieces a lot. All right, so e4, e5, standard opening. He plays knight to f3. We attack, or excuse me, he attacks, we defend with our knight, and he plays the Italian game. So now we'll play the Giuoco Piano. Oh, and he does the Evans Gambit. All right, well, let's see here. I guess we will go ahead and take that, accept this Evans Gambit, and then, let's see, retreat back. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I am using a new opening repertoire for all these games in this series. So it's going to take me a little while. I'm somewhat familiar with these openings. I've kind of gone over them a little bit, but I still have a lot to learn. I wanted to pick some more solid openings to use. I used to play the Sicilian against e4, but the games kind of got wild and crazy. And so I wanted to pick something that was more solid. So I started playing e5, and that may help me against higher competition here as I try and move up towards 2000. All right, so now let's see. Is he going to jump forward with his knight? And if so, I think I may have to. Do I push forward here? All right, so here's what I'm looking at. Okay, so he kind of gave me a little break there. Instead of jumping forward and trying to put pressure on this F pawn. So now I can go ahead, develop my other knight, and get ready to castle here. And I'll definitely have to review this game to see what I should be playing. Exactly. Like here, I wasn't sure whether to move my bishop here to a5 or move it to c5. I'll have to see if that made a difference, because I was worried about him jumping his knight up here instead of castling. And then, okay, so now he pushes forward. So what do we do in this position? All right. Well, usually when they have two pawns in the center, you want to capture, but then he would be able to recapture. And so I'm not sure if I should push forward and attack. And this game could get crazy in a hurry here if I don't play this right. And that's one thing about these e4, e5 openings. They can become quite tactical. All right. Well, do I just push forward with d6 and let him gain space and chase my knight away? I mean, I guess that is one option. If he captures, he could prevent me from castling. Although my other knight... Well, let's see. If I go here and he captures, I capture. So capture, capture. He could go after my... Okay, I don't think I like that. So I'm just looking at the possibilities here in the center. I think I'm supposed to play d5, and give back this pawn in the center and let my other bishop out. But I don't know for sure. So if he captures, I capture. Really tricky. This is like we're at a turning point in the game already because I don't know all of the theory on this opening. So if I were to push forward here, if he captures, I could capture. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I wasted too much time. So we'll go ahead and do that. Attacking his bishop. And let's see what he decides to do next. All right. Go ahead and capture. Am I already going to be in trouble here? Let's see if he captures. Okay, my other knight can capture, so I might be good. Well, let me think. Yeah, if I'm just worried about him. Yeah, a lot of tactics in this. I definitely need to study this opening and figure out what the exact moves are because it just turned into a mess in a hurry. So if he captures, okay, so he plays that way. That's interesting. Well, now, do I go ahead and just capture his knight? Probably. But then I have to watch out because let's see. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Just see what he does next. At least his bishop is under attack. So he'll probably capture with the pawn. And then what do I do? Just protect here with my bishop. Let's see. All right. Or do I just protect with the pawn here? I probably want to slow down his bishop, so the issue could be if I bring this up here, he could threaten to attack. All right, so if I move my bishop to e6 and guard my knight, what if he just pushes here? I have a check. Does that do anything, though? He could just move out of there. So, or do I move away with my knight attacking him? All right, it's getting crazy here. Crazy game. So I'm thinking bishop to e6, protecting the knight. Is there a problem with him pushing forward and threatening to attack my bishop? I may have time to move this knight, attacking him. Let's see, attacking his queen and his knight. All right, well, I think I'm going to just protect. It develops. I get to develop my bishop. And what is the material looking like? So 6 pawns to 6, but he has 3 pawn islands. I only have 2. So he has a weak C pawn and a weak A pawn. If I can take advantage of those. All right. Well, let's see what he decides to do next. This game definitely had some tactics, a lot of attacking possibilities early in it. So that just shows you how you can start out with a slow game, or more of a, I guess the Italian game can end up really tactical or strategic depending on how it's played. And then he went into the Evans Gambit, which there can be a lot of tactical possibilities in that. So I definitely need to brush up on that and try and improve. And all of you out there, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions. All right. Well, did I just make a losing blunder there? Did I just make a losing blunder? That is the question. Nope, I can do this and protect that. Ooh, that was close. I can protect that bishop with my queen now. Oh, that was a tricky one. I thought for a second there that I lost my bishop, but I had that pawn move, which saves, it blocks the check and it protects the bishop. So that's all the more reason to, when you pick your openings, you got to do some preparation. So it may take me a little while to get used to these openings and be able to play them better. Okay, so now I'm actually threatening a fork of the queen and the bishop. So, I don't know, that could be a good possibility as well. All right, so he decides to play that. All right. Well, I guess I should probably just capture with the queen to develop the queen, and I'll be protecting the bishop. He'll probably bring a rook out, And then what do I do after he brings that rook out? I have to keep protecting this bishop. So if I capture with the queen, he attacks with his rook. Where do I move next? Do I move here? Let's see. All right. It's probably the best move is to capture with the queen. All right. I'm just double checking. So if I do that. All right. Well, it looks like we're going with the capture of the queen here. All right. And we're lined up on this square right in front of his king. If we have some way to take advantage of that. All right, so now he prevents me from castling, so that's not very good. I can just go ahead and capture another piece here. And that's not so bad. All right, I think that's what we're going to do. We'll just pick off a piece or pick off a pawn. So we're ahead by one pawn now. What will he try to do? We could even castle queenside. And we're putting pressure here on this pawn. The problem is we want to watch out that the queen can't get in front of his bishop and try and, put a checkmate in here on e7 with the bishop and the queen line. Right now my bishop is covering this square, but okay. Well, now, do we go ahead and just take this other pawn, forking his knight and rook, but then he could attack me. All right, I have to be very careful here. We could go with our queen, but then this knight could try and jump into the position. So if we capture with our bishop, attacking his rook and his knight, his rook could jump over here, attacking our queen. Then what can we do? Or, all right, this is getting dangerous. Do we threaten a mate by just retreating our bishop down? Do we do that? Oh, this is a tricky one. All right. Okay, we have options. We could move our bishop down here, threaten a mate. He could just move his knight over, though, attacking our queen and protecting that. You know, and then what do we do? Um, let's see. Should we go ahead and do that? All right. I mean, then we could just pick this off. But we need to get this king castled. So that's the biggest problem I can see, is trying to get this king safe. And before he gets stuck in the middle of the board. And if we could trade queens off, since we're ahead in material. All right, if we go here, he's going to attack us with the knight. We could go up here and attack his queen. So maybe we'll just do that. We'll threaten a mate here. I don't know if it looks too risky for me to have gone after that pawn. And I don't know, at least this way I'm attacking his queen. And then maybe I can put this bishop up here, attack his bishop. And be able to castle. All right, anyway. And I burned a lot of time on that last move. So, let's see here. Whew, yeah, 3 minutes. I have a few moves that I took a long time on, and that could be a problem. Like I was saying earlier, I seem to have trouble with the clock, so I'll have to work on that too, especially if I'm playing 15-minute games, even when they add 10 seconds. All right. Let's see here. Huh. He could just block with his knight. Okay, well, if he's going to do that, then I may just attack. I think I'll do that. Then castle queenside. We'll just go ahead and do that. You know, and hope. Oh, okay. Well, that surprised me that he went that way. All right. Well, I guess I should. Maybe I should go this way. And then I can try and put pressure on this pawn. All right. Okay. Well, let's see if we want to just jump forward here with our rook. That'll keep his knight out of there. I think that might be a good move. Just blockade with the rook. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, so now we could double our rooks. So now the threat is to just push a pawn and we should probably go after this knight. Well, I don't know. That'll give up the bishop pair, but I am running out of time. So if I push this, if he takes it. All right, well, let's just reduce the material down since we're in the lead. And now I have to watch out for the time because it's time is getting critical here. All right. Do I give up the bishop pair? Well, now I might as well just do that. All right. And he can't, the pawn is pinned to his rook. All right. Now do I just capture? So I'll go ahead and do that. Then I can let's see. Then I can just go there, have this passed pawn marching up the board. Okay. Well, do I just keep pushing forward with this passed pawn? That is the question. He'll be able to block it. Um, Go ahead and do that. Maybe he'll trade off more material. Okay, so he does. All right. Well, now, do we just protect that, or do we push this pawn forward? I guess we'll just protect it. All right, well, start moving our king up there to help. All right, so if we go there, blocking him off, so we stop his king from gaining forward momentum. The problem is this pawn here. All right. Let's see. Oh, he may try and chase me away. Okay. All right, the problem's going to be if he moves a pawn out here, trying to chase me away. Do I go here and counterattack? All right. Okay. Well, that's not too good either. All right, so I'm running out of time, and he has the majority over here, so he's going to want to push the unopposed pawn. I should be trying to push forward over here. All right, and so of course he tries to stop that. So guess I could, do I want to do that? I'm running out of time, so I need to just go ahead and move there. All right, this way at least I can push forward my pawn now. Stop his pawn from moving forward. He could check me here, but I mean, I guess I could block. Okay. Um. Hmm. So we'll do that. See what he does. And I need to push this pawn. All right. Well, I think we're good now. So now I have a passed pawn that he definitely has to worry about. Should have moved up that other pawn. All right. Do a push forward there, forcing him to make a decision. And I won now. So now the game's over. That was so close. Sorry it took so long, guys. Yeah, there's no way he can stop my pawn. Man, I was worried about running out of time. And that one, I don't know. I guess we'll do a quick game review here. I probably made that game more difficult than it had to be. Oh, and the opening, I definitely have to brush up on that opening, especially if I come across these variations again. It was really tricky. Okay, game review here. Let's see. I'll just go through this game review quickly, and then I'll do the analysis, which I can actually show you more, because when I just hit this automatic game review, it kind of blasts through the moves pretty fast. All right, so here we go. All right, so that was book move all the way through those first moves. D4 was the last book move, so I must have played something maybe not so good. It says I'm in the lead right now by 0.72. So here I made a mistake, and the game switches over and puts white in the lead by +1. So that was a mistake, pushing that pawn. I should have just castled. All right, so it says if I castle, then white cannot stop black from winning a pawn if they make the right moves. Or, well, actually, uh, let's see, make sure I read that right. Yeah, so I should have castled. So next move, c6 is a great move. Yeah, because it protects that bishop that was under attack and it blocked the check. So queen to e5, or queen captures on e5. So we get a pawn out of it. And then it says that this queen move was a mistake here. Interesting. It does not like that move. It says that's a mistake. Although black is still ahead at this point, but it's saying instead of 1.15 in black's favor, I should have moved my queen to a5 to attack his queen, and I'd be at 2.78. So we'll definitely have to look at that when I do the analysis. So let's finish through this automatic game review. So f6 would have been better here. Which, yeah, that makes sense. So I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, black is still in the lead, but I just gave up a pawn here that I didn't need to. So, looks like I should have just pushed this pawn forward so he couldn't capture that. All right, king to c7 is a mistake. And d3, so it would have been better to push that pawn forward. Interesting. All right, well, another thing for the analysis. All right, b5, a great move, because now I have this passed pawn over here. And that was the game winning, that's what determined the winning the game, is that passed pawn. So now he wasn't able to get back over in time, and we just push, and we would have gotten a queen and won. So it says you had a pretty competitive game there. Your opponent pounced on their opportunities in the opening. Both of you navigated the middle game well, and I outmaneuvered my opponent in the end game. So percentages, man, my opponent was 100% accuracy in the opening, and I was only 88.7. So yes, like I said, I definitely need work on that opening. Middle game 73.4 to I had 79.9 in the middle game, and then end game 78.5 to 81. All right, so they outplayed me in the opening, but I outplayed them a little bit in the middle game and the end game. So, study your tactics, your strategy, and your end games. Openings can be important, but maybe not focus so much on just memorizing openings, because then once you get into the middle game and the end game, if you don't know what to do, you could be in trouble. All right, so I'll go back to the beginning, do an analysis on this, and just kind of go through the moves and with a little more detail for anybody that's sticking around this long. Okay, so e4, e5, knight to f3, attacking the pawn. We protect it with our knight. They play bishop to c4, the Italian game. So we respond with bishop to c5, the Giuoco piano. And so this can be a slow maneuvering strategic game, but they go into the Evans Gambit, giving up this pawn. So it looks like the best move is for black to go ahead and capture this, but now they can play c3, which is the best move, and now it chases your bishop away, and then in the future you can push forward with the pawn to d4 and be backed up by the c pawn. But first they have to watch out, because this bishop moving back here, which is what I did, it says that the best move, well, that's pretty interesting. the move that it prefers is moving the bishop here to d6, protecting this pawn, and then I guess that would give you an opportunity maybe to move your knight over here and attack the bishop. I retreated back this way, which was that even in there? Bishop to a5. Okay, so now it's saying that that is the best move, bishop, but the computer kind of fluctuates, especially when it's in the opening. The computer's not always sure what the best moves are. Grandmasters and other chess masters have just figured it out over time. So bishop to a5, and then we have castling, and now knight to f6, and d4 is played. And here it says d6 or castling, or even knight takes e4 could have been played. So I played d5, which is a mistake, and here it says that this pawn should capture on d5, which I believe is what he did, and then I capture. So far these are the moves that should be played, but now it's saying queen to b3 is the best, just putting more pressure. Oh yeah, that's a dangerous move. So queen to b3 would have put pressure on the knight. Oh yeah, that would have caused some problems there. The knight would have been under attack. If I move the knight, then this pawn would be under attack. If I move my bishop to protect the knight, the queen could possibly take this b pawn. Whew. All right. Yeah, queen to b3. Then it recommends bishop to e6. Like I said, definitely have to look over this opening. So I'll try and go through this a little bit quickly, a little more quickly, because otherwise it'll take forever. So he captured, and that was a mistake. That queen to b3 causing all kinds of problems would have been better. So now this gives me time to recapture, which was the best move. And then he recaptures, which now that says that's an inaccuracy. That the computer thinks that rook to e1 would have been better. Interesting. So putting pressure on that knight, pinning it to the king, I'd have time to go ahead and castle, but then the rook would capture, and this, I guess this knight would have some pressure. So a lot of tactics going on in this game. So capture, and then I play bishop to e6, which it says is best. And now this move, which scared me in the game because I thought I lost my bishop because I'm in check and the bishop is under attack here. The computer says that knight to d2 would have been better in this situation. But anyway, luckily I found the move that blocks the check and protects my bishop. And so now bishop captures, which was a mistake. He gives up the bishop pair. And here it looks like rook to d1 would have been better. So if we go back, yeah, rook to d1, that would have been troublesome because it would have pinned this knight to my queen, and then that could have caused some issues. So, all right, moving on. Capture. So I recapture, and I wasn't sure whether to capture with the queen or the bishop, and it looks like the queen capture was best because now I'm attacking this central pawn, and of course I'm protecting this bishop, but my queen is in the center here more. All right. So now this move, which my opponent was trying to prevent me from being able to castle. So I see why he did that. But it looks like rook to e1 would have been better, just protecting the pawn. So if we go back, yeah, rook to e1, just protecting the central pawn. But at this point, black is ahead. So I captured the pawn, which was the best move. The knight jumps out here, which is best, connecting the rooks, and this knight can start attacking and harassing my queen. Ooh, yeah, and there's the threat of this, forking well, is that a threat? Forking the king and queen, or sorry, the queen and the bishop. If I attack, well then my queen, a rook could move here and pin my queen to the king. So, yeah, that's a tricky one. I mean, what else could I do there? In this position, it says that castling queenside is best. And I don't think I did that. I just moved over and attacked his queen. Or did I? So I didn't. I just threatened a mate here. So he goes here. And let's see. No, so it says I should have castled queenside. Man, if I castled queenside, though, would he still have that threat? Let's take a look at that real quick. So, if here I castled queenside, and then it says knight to c4 would have been best, and then bishop captures c4. Okay, now my king is moved and there's no longer that threat of the pin of the queen to the king. Okay. All right, so that makes sense. You know, and then here, of course, the queen would have to recapture. But at this point, let's see. It recommends rook to d5 here. Just getting a rook in the center. Oh, and giving up this pawn. So that's interesting. All right, but if the queen captures this pawn down here, I could capture over here. All right, so anyway, let's get back to the game and get through this. I retreat back, threatening a mate here, but my opponent sees that and attacks the queen and stops the mate. Although the computer said that queen to h4 would have been better. So the game continued with my queen moving up here, attacking his queen, trying to force a trade. But, you know, they didn't have to trade. I guess the queen could have retreated back. All right, so the queen moves here, and it says this is a miss, that queen captures would have been better. But black would still be in the lead. So I go ahead and continue with my plan. I trade off queens. And this move was unexpected. I thought that he would probably jump forward with his knight, attacking my bishop here. So I finally go ahead and castle on move 17. And then he protects this isolated pawn, although the computer prefers bishop to c5 here, attacking this. But he can't really go after this because then my pawn could move forward, trapping him and trapping that bishop, and then I could go after the bishop with the king. So I move here. The bishop protects this pawn, which it says that is the best move. And now I just double up, and it looks like instead the immediate pin on this knight would have been better. So white plays this space-gaining pawn push on the queen side here, which the computer says that's the best move to make. So I go ahead and finally pin this knight, and now it's saying that is best. So the rook moves, that way he can recapture the knight and not be left with doubled pawns on the king side. So here, it looks like rook to a3 would have been even better. So I go ahead and push this pawn, which it says is good, but better would have been to attack immediately with the bishop by going to b6 here. All right, so an attack, I capture, he captures. Here it says I should have just pushed my pawn forward and kept this rook out. But instead, I capture to get this passed pawn, which didn't amount to much anyway, and I had to give it up later. So he captures, I retreat back so he doesn't take more pawns. And it says it would have been better to push forward with the other rook. Interesting. All right, so capture, capture, more pressure on this pawn. So now I go here, and it says it would have been better to push this pawn. So the king comes out. I try and move my king up, but it says here I should have pushed the pawn. So let's take a quick look at that. So d3, and then it recommends rook to c1 check. Says that is the best move, but here black would still be ahead. So I would have to move, and then bishop to c3. Is that what it's saying? Okay. Bishop to c3. Saying that's the best. And then rook to c7. All right, anyway, you get the idea. I'm trying to push the pawn. And that's what the computer says, that the best move now would be to bring the king over to help stop the pawn. And then, let's see, rook to f7, going after this pawn. All right, before I get too far, into another line, let's go back and see what happened in the game. So the king moves up. That's a mistake, but black is still in the lead. White's king jumps forward here to help stop this pawn. So I move my king up, the best move. He moves forward. I move my king up. But here it says, it says that I shouldn't have done that. So I guess if he captures, yeah, I should have just left this rook lined up here. The best move, it's saying, would have been rook to f7, kind of like that other line, then f3, and then what? Rook to e7, is that what it's saying? All right, so black, rook to e7. I guess the problem is, if there's a capture by the bishop, and then I capture and the king captures, my rook can move over and skewer the king and the rook here. The king would have to move out of the way and I would get the rook. So I overlooked that tactic. In this, it's saying, let's see, bishop to c1 would be better here. But we're going to just veer off, into, off the subject even more here if I'm not careful. Now it's saying bishop to a5. Okay, so that's an interesting tactic. It's saying bishop to a5. The king can't capture because my rook would check the king and then capture the rook. So after this, we have, let's see, it's saying bishop to g5 would have been the best move here, attacking my rook. And then, let's see, rook to e6. Rook to c1 check, and so on. Okay, let's get back to the main line of the game here. So after king to d3, I thought, well, I should get my king up here, but that was actually an inaccuracy. So now the rook gets the open file here, so that's not good. I move here, counterattacking the pawn. He just pushes forward to prevent me from capturing, so I start pushing my pawns, and it looks like better would have been bishop to c5. And now the rook adds pressure here, so I just move my pawns up, capture, capture, and it says it would have been better to just keep that bishop, but capture, and now the game is a draw, or dead even. So I move, the rook moves over. It says that rook to c4 check would have been better. So I move my rook up. So we just kind of maneuver around here. Check. Now, this should have been avoided. One piece of strategy: do not go into an all pawns endgame unless you're absolutely sure that you're not going to get in trouble and lose the game, as happened in this game. So here, the best move is to trade off. So I do that, and then I push my pawn here. So now black is just ahead. So it says that capturing is a mistake because now black is winning, that a5 would have been better. So if we take a look at that, a5 would have been a better move. And now what should white do? Well, it says that black should just push this pawn. Let's see. Actually, it wants me to push the g pawn up to g5. So, that's pretty interesting. Now, this passed pawn here is holding the king over to this side of the board. So, let's look at a few more moves here. So now it's saying white should play g3 and get ready to push his f pawn. The king should move here and take the opposition. And now f4, pushing. When you have a pawn majority, usually you want to push the unopposed pawn that has nothing in front of it to stop it. Now here it says that is a mistake. It would have been better to move the king over. So let's see. After this move, I thought the computer told me to make that move, so let's go back. All right, so f4 is not the best move. It looks like king to e4 would have been better to try and jump down in here. And now it looks like king to c5 is the best move and start pushing your passed pawn up. So I don't know. Here, after king to e3, we would have, let's take a look here. h5 looks like the best move. And it says that that's not even the best move. So here the computer is just unsure. So now it is saying f4 immediately would have been better. And then after, let's see, capture, capture, king to c6 or d6. So I would probably go to d6 to further cut off that king. And then it looks like h4. But we have this passed pawn over here. So you get the picture. We should be able to race down here and try and cut off. Let's say white goes here. Well then, what should we do? It looks like, it says king to d5 is best. That's pretty interesting. King to d5, and then king to g5, and now we just run our pawn up, and then we have, let's see, if they push theirs forward, we promote first. So boom, 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 and oh, but now it's saying the game's even. So let's go back and see where we messed up here. Oh, we could have just gone king to e6 and stopped that pawn there. All right. Let's get back to the main line and end this before it becomes the longest video ever. Okay, so here we had a capture, recapture. Now I just have this passed pawn. Now it's saying I should not have moved there. Let's go back. G4 is a miss. It's saying I should have went to G5 and then stopped both his pawns from moving. And I kind of made a quick move and overlooked that until after I'd moved. So I went here, but G5 would have been better. Oh man, now it's saying the game is even. So after F4, it's still saying the game is even. I moved my pawn up. Pawn moves. So at this point, the game is even. Capture, capture. Pawn move, pawn push. King to e5. Ah, okay. Man, that's pretty crazy. It's saying that that was the mistake right there that lost the end game. It could have been a draw here. So if he would have moved king to d3 and then I captured, he could have gone, let's see, king to e2. And then after king to g3, he would have been able to go here and prevent me from, well, we'll play it out here. So what do I do here? If I go move my king over here, he'll be able to stop it. But, if I push forward now, he just goes here and grabs the opposition. If I keep pushing forward, it'll just end in a stalemate because he can just stay in the corner. Now I can't push forward here. So he just blocks me, and the game should have been a draw. Man, just one quick king move that was inaccurate cost him the draw. So pretty interesting. Study those end games. And, if we had more time, he probably would have avoided that mistake. But, I don't know, I think he was trying to run me out of time. And made quick moves. All right, so at this point, there's nothing he can do. The game may have continued, with just a promotion and a win. Okay, everybody. If you hung around for the entire video, I thank you. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions, even requests of any videos you would like to see in the future. Thank you, everyone, and have a great chess day.